Hello, welcome back to part 3 of Design Socks with me. I'm Gabs. I am one half of the Slip Slip Sis design team, and in this video series, I'm taking us through a sock design process. You are catching me on part 3, which is the gusset decreases, the heel flap and gusset decreases of the sock, which is by far my most challenging portion of the sock. It just involves a lot of math, wanting to try and keep everything in pattern. So it's the hardest part for me when I'm writing the socks. Those of you who are excellent with math whizzes out there, more power to you, but it is definitely a struggle for me. So this video takes you through how I correct some errors in my sock pattern, as well as knitting through and showing you what it looks like. If you have joined us for part 2, you will realize I am wearing the exact same outfit as part 2 because I recorded these about 10 seconds apart because I realized I forgot to record intros to all of them as I was going. So this is me, future Gabs, recording videos because she forgot to record them before that. So thank you so much for joining us for part 3 of Design Socks with me. I'm gonna knit probably one more stripe, maybe 2 more. I think I want 2 more of these little pink buddies, and then I'm gonna write in the heel flap and gusset. I need to add into my pattern that it needs to end on a pink stripe right before the heel flap and gusset. So that's what I'm working on for that. I will probably do a screencast of when I am editing the pattern to show you how I write my heel flap and gusset pattern. I do a square heel. I found them that they fit me the best. They're also the most flexible when it comes to adjusting numbers for not a 56, 64, 72. So I guess not a multiple of 8 pattern. That a square heel is a lot more forgiving if you need to adjust your numbers versus the, I guess it's kind of more pointed heel that you see in a lot of sock patterns. That one relies a little bit more on even numbers. So I found that a square heel is a little bit more forgiving if you want to kind of tweak with the numbers of your pattern. But of course, you can always put whatever heel you want in it. I've just found right now that a square heel works best for me. So that's what I'm going to go work on. I'll knit the rest. And then when I'm ready to do the heel flap, all of that, I will show you how I do it. For the heel flap and heel turn portion of this pattern, I was able to copy and paste directions from another pattern that Chaylee and I have written. I think I swiped them from our Twisted Sister pattern, but I am needing to add in to break the contrast color as well as to knit the heel flap with the main color. So the part that I do need to write are the gusset decreases. I found it helpful to include that the gusset decreases are worked in the round, whereas the heel flap and heel turn are worked flat. So round 1 for the gusset decreases is usually the trickiest because it involves picking up the stitches along the heel flap as well. The way I like to pick mine up is I like to pick up and knit them as I go rather than trying to pick them up and then have to do another round after that. So I include in my instructions to pick up and knit, as well as include a note in the designer section at the top on how I pick up and knit those stitches, which was the recommendation of a tech editor I previously worked with. I also like to place 2 additional markers kind of in the corners where the main pattern is, where the top of the foot is. I also like to include the total stitch count you should have at the end of this row, because I think it's helpful so that you're able to make sure you've got everything and you're going into the gusset decreases correctly. I used to wing it, but that was kind of dangerous. So my round 1 is the decrease round for the gusset decreases that involves both knit 2 togethers and slip slip knits, which is what our company name is based off of. Get it? Slip slip sis? Slip slip knit? Chaylee is very clever. So this will be the decrease round, and then I like to include, just like before, how many stitches you should have at the end of this round, so it kind of helps to keep you on track for knitting. It also helps me make sure that I'm writing my pattern accurately. For this pattern, I chose to actually write out round 3, round 4, round 5, etc., because I thought it would keep it a little bit clearer for making sure that you're counting your rows for your stripes of the sock a little bit better. In other sock patterns, sometimes the designer will write repeat rounds 1 and 2 for 4 times total, or 5 times total, or X, whatever X times total is. But I thought this one would be helpful to keep it a little bit more clear, because I'm wanting to keep the stripes while working the gusset decreases. So I'm choosing this time to label each round and write it out. It also helped me keep my pattern straight when I had to switch to contrast color, which you just saw me do. So I just finished adding in rounds 8 and 9 of the contrast color, and then realized that I needed the transition row of the slip stitches and the knit ones. So I'm going back and editing those in. And then I switch back again to the main color to finish it up. And then sizes 1 and 2 would continue on to the foot pattern, but because size 3 picked up more stitches, they need to continue in the pattern. So I include size 3 only, and then continue writing out the pattern for what they need to do. I include little dash marks for the sizes, like you can see on round 12, where it says dash, dash, and then comma 74, so that in case you are knitting size 1 and 2 and you accidentally go forward, you realize when I count the stitch total, you're like, oh shoot, my total's not there. So it kind of helps you catch your mistake before you get too deep in it. It's been a few days. It took me a bit to finish the leg on the socks, but I'm back. I finished it. So I'm just in the middle of picking up the heel flap and gusset stitches. This is how far I got on the leg. It's turning out really cute. I really like it. So I started writing the heel flap and gusset pattern, or the section for it, and that is by far the hardest part for me. The gusset decreases are the hardest part for me because it's a lot of math to make sure all 3 sizes are decreasing properly, and because there's a pattern on this, there's this little striped pattern which happens every 7, so it's a repeat of 10, so that happens for every 10 rows, that I want it to be even and look good. So it's a little bit tricky, and this part I always find to be the most challenging, because once you get to the foot, it's essentially just a repeat of what you did on the leg. And then when I do the toe is pretty simple if you just do a simple wedge toe. So I find the gusset decreases to always be the most challenging part for me. Knit a row, then right, then knit a row, then right, just because it's so tricky and I don't want to mess the numbers up. So that's kind of where I am, but this is definitely the most math heavy section of socks, at least for me. So I will finish doing my first setup row of picking up the heel flap stitches, which is, you can see I'm in the middle of doing right now. That I also think I might run out of yarn, but it's fine. They're meant to be scrappy socks. So if I have to fudge it, I will fudge it and it will be fine. Hooray! Real design process. All right, I'll check back in with you in a bit.